Welcome everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Dragon's Corner. Today, we're going to teach you the basics of flight with master modes. I did one prior, which is obviously outdated. So we're going to go through the newbie flight controls with mouse and keyboard. Just disclaimer, I've been using Six for the last couple of years, so I might be a little rusty, but I will show you where you can change all your keybinds and everything else as we go along. So let's get started, shall we? So first thing, you can be in a flight suit, but we want to make sure you have a helmet on, because it does have popped up HUDs and stuff that make things a little easier as long as you have a helmet on. For this, we're going to use the Pisces C8R. We're going to call it at our ASOP by holding F and then mousing around and clicking to manipulate things. And once it comes up, we'll get in the bread and butter of it, shall we? So for today's purposes, we're going to be using the C8R. It's a handy-dandy little ship, kind of like any of your little starter ships you might have, the Aurora, the Titan. But this year's got a medical bed. But we're not here for the ship, are we? We are here to learn how to fly. So you're going to have to figure out how you're going to get in your ship. Usually there's a little panel or a prompt on the door, that kind of stuff. And then one little tip, you want to make sure you close if you have like a ramp like this to get in and out, close your door, because that makes things a lot easier and it keeps people off your ship. So we hold F and we pressed over our prompt to enter the seat. So now, as you see, we're in our cockpit. We have all these different little screens and everything's turned off. So there's two ways you can go about this. You could hold F and go across all different prompts, engine on, flight ready. If you want the true experience. I prefer not, to be honest with you. So here's what I do. I just press U or hold U. And that then fires up everything else except for my engines, which is what you want. Now this here is an advanced HUD. It can, if it's buggy, I'll show you how to switch that to, because generally it'll work for a little bit and then it'll stop. Now every ship has different MFDs, how they're laid out, what's on them. You can change them by simply just pressing on the little buttons underneath with the F. And then here's where you can, I have it by default for my advanced HUD to be on and off, or on. But we just hit that if your advanced HUD disappears. And then there you go. Right, now you can come back, you can put it back on. Now gunnery, these, I have like a keybind in and I have a video for that, for a whole setting to make your ship fly better, quote unquote. But basically, you can manipulate everything through these MFDs. You got your flight, you got your cruise control, you got all that other kind of stuff. Now we're gonna make sure our G-safe and all that's off. We're gonna just switch over, and you can see here we can flip through all the different things. This is kind of your most important, which is generally here, and next to that is your power. This shows your ship. Well, ironically, you also have that up here, which is why if you have a helmet on, you can see this. So you don't really have to have this, but it helps. So I generally make sure I have at least one on target, even though the target information comes up over here in your screen. But it is what it is, right? So then now we can hit P to cycle our weapons. You see here now we have 0 on our weapons. Hit P. Right, and then O shuts your shields off and turns them on. So there's benefits to running with your shields low because it reduces your emissions, which makes you a lot harder to see at a further distance. And same thing, shutting off your weapons, that kind of stuff. And lastly, we hit I to fire it up. So then now, what we can do, each of these little power pips here represent what you have available power for. So see how we got 62 there? If we were to hit that, now we have 75 rounds in our guns, right? If we were to put this into our thrusters, our afterburner will recover a lot faster. More points in your shields means the more percentage your shields reduce damage and also how quickly they recover. Quantum drive clicks over when we go into nav mode, which I'll explain in a minute. Life support in 4.1 is kind of useless. You got radar, which obviously nothing will work without radar, and then your coolers. So that in the end, this could all be managed by holding F, and then like so you could turn that off. The same thing like that. Same thing. So you can manipulate everything you can through keybinds. So now let me just show you where your keybinds are for a lot of different stuff. So we come into our key binding setting, and then we make sure we hit down that bottom. And so now here we're going to want to make sure we set a thing for open and close all. So that'll open all your doors and close all your doors, because that's kind of your main thing that you want to be looking for. Now this here, operator modes, you can like I have these all set for individual setups, because it's just easier that way. But that doesn't mean that you can't do it the manual way like I'm going to show you. Right, so then yeah, and then like you got your missiles here. Like you can adjust them, you can adjust all your keybinds there, but ultimately G switches the number of missiles. And then missile, I'll show you how to flip through the different modes in a second. And then weapons, same thing. You know, you could play with your settings here however you want to set it. Gimbal mode allows for for your guns to automatically track, but they do a lot less damage, but you can hit more often because they automatically track. Last thing you're going to want to make sure you have is a lead lag pick setup. By default, there's no thing for that, so you're going to want to do that, and then you're set that to whatever you want. I just do lead lag, and that way there you can flip back and forth. And then versely, you got your comma there for staggered fire. And these are all these things set to F3. You can adjust all those in your MFD, but you can set that up in. I have a video for that as well. Okay, so what are we gonna do? Our engines are on. We're fully powered up. First thing we do is get off the ground. So we press spacebar. That gets us off the ground. Now you see here with the mouse, wherever that little arrow is pointing, your ship's gonna pull that way. That's how you control your pitch and yaw for the most part with mouse and keyboard. It's it's not ideal, but the way they're running it right now in 4.1, being mouse and keyboard player, you got a big advantage over the stick players, unless you're a really skilled stick player. So now, like I said, we got our forward, we got our back. And the mouse and keyboard by default has the upper limits set right here, because this is your throttle forward and back. Your mouse and keyboard has it automatically that it's top end. No matter what you do, it's top end. This here indicates what you have kind of going on right now. This is in your advanced HUD. This is indicates that you have your landing gear down. Now most ships will have something like this where they have all these little lights and all these status lights. But that varies ship to ship. This is how many decoys and chaff you have, your G-force, because your character will pass out, and your altimeter, and your relative velocity. And then there's fuel indicator as well. All right. So now what we want to do is we want to hit N to retract our landing gear so that we can get flying. Now we are our side thrust with A and D, and then we got our roll with Q and E. And forward is W, and backwards is S. There you go. We just went down. Anyways, okay, so now remember we were saying, actually there's one more keybind we need to have you set up. That's for calling for ATC. Let's see if I can remember where that is. For keybinds, advanced, Here we go, yeah. So it's under flight, vehicle flight. Vehicle movement. Flight movement, I should say, sorry. And you want to go all the way down until you find request landing. I have this set to double tap for caps lock. But I also have a voice attack setup that I can run with. But I'll show you why, because otherwise, and you will have to do this still sometimes, you'll have to hit F1, then come down here into comms, and then friends, and then you'll have to go to wherever it is you're calling from. In this case, it's Everest Harbor. Hit that. And then that'll call it. Now when we come to land, I'll show you landing, why we have that set for calling. But in case you do find it, things are a little sensitive to start off, you can always left alt and mouse wheel to control your maximum velocity using your mouse and keyboard. Okay, so then now we're just going to go forward, get out of here, and then we're flying. We are flying. Woo! Now, we are in what's called weapons mode, or SCM, safe combat maneuvering mode. We got our shields up, we have power to our weapons. Now, how do we switch modes, right? So generally, there's two ways. Okay, so while you're in SCM mode, you have access to your guns. If you middle mouse click, you now have access to your missiles. And G will cycle how many missiles you can fire. And then you got your scanning mode. All of which you can switch from that. So let's say go to the keybinds, because it's been that long since I've used mouse and keyboard to fly. But if you notice, I'm not pressing the throttle, but we're still going. Still going right here at our speed. I'm flying in what's called decoupled mode. So decoupled mode allows you to keep your general momentum in the direction that you're going, without using your maneuverability, without losing your speed, right? I'm only doing that to save speed. This little thing here is our vector indicator, so this will show you which direction you're going, which direction your force and your inertia is taking you. So always bear that in mind when you're approaching something. If you don't see that, you're gonna be in for a hard time. So to go into quantum mode, so you can go faster than your SCM mode, and use your quantum drive, we hold B.
Shields offline.
And then now you'll see our shields are dropped, we don't have access to our guns, and our power management changes too. And this will save, your power management saves your states, as long as that ship is still that same instance of that ship, meaning you didn't claim it. Right? And then now watch, now we can go faster than the SCM. And then if we hold our left shift, we have our afterburners, which will give us more speed. Right? And you see here now, this is what we're called in coupled mode now, which is indicated as here or down here. And what that means is you take your finger off the throttle and you start to slow down. But then if you hit C, then we're in decoupled, and now we maintain our velocity and vector. Next to that, we have cruise control, which is left alt and C. As you can see here, I'm setting the speed by moving my W and S, and then now my ship in coupled mode will maintain that speed, whatever I set it to, if it's possible to. We're just going to go decoupled for now. Save fuel. So now you have all these different markings now. There's two ways, and this is honestly the best way that I'll tell you what you can do. Let's come up over to Aberdeen first. So this here is your calibration when you're spooling. So when your quantum is ready to jump, this will be full. And when you're calibrated or you're aimed at your target and it's a viable target, it will that will fill too. So we just left click, hold it, and then now we're traveling. There, we just did our first quantum jump. So now, let's say we, you know, whether it's bugged out because the map is the biggest pain in the ass in the game. Let's say we want to go back to Hurston, but we can't quite get it to because you see how you have if you have overlapping markers, it doesn't like it really, right? It gets confused. So we're gonna hit F2, and then we're gonna search location. So now this is where if you know the name of what you're looking for, or if you have a contract up here, it gives you location. You can just search for it, and it will autofill. And we're looking for Everest Harbor. You see here how it says Everest Harbor? It will autofill, auto-suggest, much like everything else. But anything else, and this isn't just tied to your one system, it's tied to anywhere. In Pyro or in Stanton, and it'll route accordingly most of the time. So we'll hit Everest Harbor, and you can click on this, or you can hit R. Maybe not, hold on. Everest Harbor. And then click route to this location, and then there we go. So now we have a route, and we hit F2 again. There. So now we have no other indication of anything else other than our target. Now this bugs out from time to time, so don't be afraid to clear your route when you're doing it. Okay, so now we're still 1.4 million meters out, but that's okay. Good opportunity. So now let's shift back to our weapons mode by holding B. Weapons and targeting hasn't really changed, so I have an old video on that, and I'll link that here. But Cole's Notes version, when you have a target, you hit T, and that'll hit the target underneath your reticle. If you're want to cycle hostile targets, it's your 5 on your keyboard. But when we got our guns up, we just left click, and then we can keep firing our guns. There'll be a circle that'll lead your ship in front of you. And I'll give a brief example of that by doing a VLRT in a moment, just so you get an idea what you're looking at. And then when that's your ammo count. So when that's done, that's done. But with laser repeaters, they recharge. With ballistics, once you're out of ammo, you're out of ammo. So Gatling guns, cannons, that kind of stuff. Last but not least, you got your gimbals. If they're active, if you can have them. Some ships have them, some don't. Like, so now I'm in targ mode. So the guns are going to follow where my thing is, and my ship will eventually do it too. So this is good if you're not quite a good pilot, because it'll give you an opportunity to use the guns themselves to be on target, basically, right? Otherwise, that's locked mode. Now, there's another thing here too. I'm throwing a lot at you. Don't be afraid to ask questions down below. There's precision mode. So the default precision mode is right click, and what this does, it zooms in, and it allows you to like focus in on spots of your ship, of your target. So engines, there's a whole sub-targeting around that's kind of buggy and sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. But this one here, your guns fire a little slower, but it zooms in, and you can really focus in on specific parts of the ship, or just hit it a little easier too. I don't use this mode very often, but it's something you can think about. Okay, so that's it for the explanation. Oh wait, we got to show you one more thing. We got to show you how to land so that you're not you're not being left out in the cold here. All right, so then we held B to bring up our quantum mode. And then we'll left click, hold left to initiate the quantum drive. And I'm going to try to see if I can find a target to show you. We better... There you go. So now if we hit T, pull that up. Now because we're not in gun mode, if we were to hit gun mode, once it's in range, because we're out of range, you should see like that's what it looks like when you select a target. Okay, yeah, there we go. There we go. So you see this here, that's using my magnified UI and stuff. But that's what I'm talking about by the pip. That's what I mean with the pip. So that's what it'll look like. You want to aim your laser repeaters and ballistics and guns and that at that. And when you have multiple weapon sets, you mouse wheel through it, and then it'll change your weapon sets. So if you have, because different weapons have different weapon speeds, it's quite a complicated thing. But the aim of this video is to get you so that you can fly and you can get where you need to get. We're not going to worry about that for now. So now where we want to land, right? So I'm going to double tap my caps lock. I'm going to say hangar request completed, and it's going to indicate where it wants me to go. Oh, last thing. To detarget it, you Alt T. That way there you don't have any extra issues. And your space brake to help slow you down a little quicker. Two ways. You could hold X, or you can turn 180 degrees and turn and burn. So now we're approaching our thing. What we're going to do is we're going to left alt and mouse wheel down so that we don't come in very fast. I pressed N to drop my landing gear. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. Landing of the year right there. Landing of the year right there, man. See, even experienced guys still mess it up. But yeah, so you want to try to come in nice and slow. Drop your landing gear, but because I wasn't going super fast, I did blow myself up. Right? But in theory, it should look something. Now, you can also change your view by hitting F4, by the way. I forgot to mention that. But what you can do is you want to, you can come nose down, and you want to try to level yourself out and come in. Not what I just did. Very graceful landing. And F4 to bring myself back in. We hit I to shut our engines off so we're not burning fuel. And last but not least, how to refuel and repair your ship. So we hit F1, and this might look different based on what you're looking at this as, but there'll be landing or landing services or ground services. So you want to just go down the list: repair, restock, because we fired that missile. Quantum fuel is the fuel you need to use when you're doing your jumping like we did between the planets, and hydrogen is what you use for your standard thrusters. Just go along, do all those, and then hit F1, and then it'll, like, when it's repairing done, there, now we're all done. And we're all good to go. And then you hold Y to get out of your seat. You can power down your ship too if that's something you want to do. Generally, if I'm going to be mucking around, I don't really just power down my ship. I just kind of do my own thing. But, yeah. That's flight in a nutshell, as much as I could to try to keep it short and brief. I really do hope that this helped. Because this can be quite a complicated game. There's a lot of keybinds, and this is just scratching the surface. I haven't even done anything about shield bias. There's like weapons explanation, all that other kind of jazz. There's so much, but I want to try to break it down into bite-sized bits for you so that you as a new player can have a way of doing it. But anyways, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys. Oh, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Sorry, or follow, whatever it is that they do it now. Because I do try to keep doing these once in a while. And if you have any comments, questions, a video that you'd like to see, feel free to leave in the comments down below, and I will definitely do my best to make it for you. Anyways, thank you very much, everybody. Have yourselves a great day.